rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This is to advise those present at this meeting of the Board of Education of the Pinelands Regional School District in the County of Ocean that adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. The notice has also been posted in the Board of Education office, junior high school and high school buildings. The notice was also mailed to the Press of Atlantic City, Asbury Park Press, and filed with the municipal clerks of Bass River Township, Eagleswood Township, Little Egg Harbor Township, and the Borough of Tuckerton. At this moment, I would invite Crystal Martin to come forward to take the oath of allegiance as our new board member. Welcome. Amanda will be doing so with you.
You can, if you want to stand over by your chair, it's a little bit more comfortable. So you're going to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Crystal Martin,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and the governments established in the United States
and the governments established in the United States
and this state
and this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, Crystal Martin,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess the qualifications prescribed
that I possess the qualifications prescribed
by law for the office of member of a Board of Education.
by law for office of member of the Board of Education.
I'm not disqualified as a voter pursuant to
I am not disqualified as voter pursuant to
RS
RS
1944-1.
1944-1.
I'm not disqualified due to a conviction
I'm not disqualified due to conviction
of a crime or offense
of a crime or offense
listed in NJSA
listed in NJSA
18A
18A
12-1,
12-1,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of that office
of that office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome to the board.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Right there.
Okay. Go ahead. Okay, thank you, Amanda. Welcome, Crystal. Item 3, approval of the minutes. I ask for a motion to approve the minutes from January 3rd, 16, and 22.
Motion. Second, just hold on one second, sorry.
Amanda, get in your seat, please.
Sorry.
Stephanie.
It's okay, okay. We do need to do a roll call.
You want to sit here, Mike?
Jeff, we have to do a roll call.
Fine, Amanda. Amanda, please take a roll call.
Sure. Miss Betty?
Here.
Mr. Hewitt?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson? Here. Miss Martin? Miss Patricia Martin? We're gonna,
This is a roll call for attendance
this is roll call for attendance.
here.
Okay. Mrs. McVeigh?
Here.
Ms. Zimmerman?
Here.
Mr. Dalio?
Here.
Mr. Bonnicky?
Here.
Ms. Crystal Martin?
Here.
Okay, so I'm gonna use your first name so we know who we're talking to. Everybody else will be last names. You guys have the same list.
That is
All
an
right.
excellent
We
plan,
are in
Amanda.
session.
Okay, we're in session. Moving to item 3, approval of the minutes. I ask for a motion. Well, I did ask for a motion. It was so made by Betty Ann and seconded by Shannon.
Correct. All right.
Excellent. Any questions on the minutes? There being none, roll call vote, please, Amanda.
Miss Betty?
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky?
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
she have to abstain from the executive minutes. Okay, okay. Ms. Patricia Martin,
I am abstaining from the 3rd and 16th and voting yes for January 22nd.
okay, hold on. one second. Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Mrs. Martin, Ms. Crystal Martin, you would need to abstain from them all.
Yes, I will abstain.
Okay, thank you. Abstention noted.
Thank you, Amanda. All right, item 4. We have the report of the superintendent and the student representative. Johanna, welcome.
Hello.
I'll give you the floor.
Okay. I'm so sorry. It's loading, but from what I have, February has been busy as per usual. Pinelands track team traveled to NJSIAA Group 3 sectionals on February 9th, where Michael Frawley placed 2nd in hurdles and Katie Dillinger placed 6th in high jump. Juniors and seniors from AP environmental class, microbiology, robotics, and AP physics, had the opportunity to visit the ACUA site facility center where they learned about recycling and waste management. The 14th annual pep rally was held on February 7th, where the AP students got to celebrate their hard work and prepare for the AP test in May. SONJ is hosting a Valentine's Day dance on February 15th to celebrate the holiday. Basketball, wrestling, bowling, and track are all in full swing for their winter seasons. Student athletes are hard at work with their practices and playing games. Students can have an opportunity to see a hockey game because SBYS has organized a trip to see Philadelphia Flyers at the end of this month. The 2024 Senior Takeover Day was another huge success. I saw many fun experiences with that. Seniors were able to live a day in the life of their favorite high school teachers and administrators. Seniors prepared lessons, activities, observed classes, and gained valuable insight into the responsibilities of educators. And lastly, the extended learning program is still offering free SAT prep, which is on school days on Mondays. This month, the calendar is posted on the school website, and that is all I have.
Great. Thank you, Johanna.
We
Well-
now have the presentation from Pitbull, and then I will do my update.
Very good. We want to.
I'll see maybe coming in. Good evening, everyone. Is my audio okay? Perfect. Sorry, I wasn't seeing the chat messages there. My apologies. My name is Brad Kirkpatrick. I am from Pitbull Secure Technologies, and I also have my colleague Brett Summers on the call with us. We were requested by the school district to take a review of an event that took place, regarding a sensitive piece of email that got sent out to it seems like all users, and we are just here to make that discussion. Without any objections, I prepared like a quick just slide deck to review the findings, and I will present if that's okay.
Yeah.
Receive, thank you. Okay. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. Zoom moved everything around on me. Okay. Hopefully that's large enough for everybody to read. So the initial request came in, as I was stated before. There was an email containing sensitive information that was sent out to quote unquote all users from the Pinelands Regional School District Google system. At the time when it was reported to the user who potentially sent that email that, hey, take a look at this. The user, excuse me, the user replied that they did not send that email, that they were potentially hacked, and that they requested the school district IT team to investigate. After the school district's initial investigation, they reached out to us to provide a second set of eyes and to help in the case. So our first step at PIPL here, we wanted to review the documentation provided by the school district. So we looked at the following things: the logs of the emails that were sent by the user into question from January 4th to January 24th of this year, 2024. Screenshots were also provided from the school district regarding the Google Vault messages and sent by the user in question, and also showing that the all users group had messages sent to it. And then also see if we can do anything with an IP address that was also found inside the email header, to see if we can try to help geolocate where those messages might have come from. So on the screen here on the left is a quick points of what we were looking for. And then on the right, the image there is a screenshot of the user's account. So what we did is we activated the user's account again, because it was deactivated at the time, just in case the account was compromised. We logged in and we're looking for what's called by Google as the account history. This is where we can see where the user has logged in, or the user's account, I should say, was logged in at various times with dates, timestamps, and also potential locations. And I'm not sure how hard it is to see here, but the device is listed here, a Google Pixel 7 Chromebooks, and the dates and times all seem to match up with the user's regular time of day with board meetings and devices used. And at the same time, as we were checking on this, we were looking at these, we're also verifying the Google logs themselves, just to pinpoint and see if there's anything that might be out of sorts. And excuse me. And then from there, while we also did look at the account history from the user's perspective, we did the same thing with their device history. This is also found inside each and every Google user's account. And again, it highlights or shows that the types of device that were used to access the different accounts, dates, and also any potential misuses. Again, it seemed like these were nothing was really out of the sorts at this time. No random acts by somebody like in a foreign country or anything like that might have been able to use the account that was compromised and act maliciously. And to bring it all to kind of what we were looking for, all of these examples here on this slide show what we were kind of looking for. At the same time, we were assisting Pinelands here. I was also assisting another school district with a similar issue. there was a user that fell for a phishing attempt, and we were able to locate a handful of items that helped confirm that, yes, the account was compromised, and this is what we were looking for. At the top, the snippet of the Google Sheet here. Now, I did redact some of the information just as a precautionary. But what we were looking for is in column C and E, the account was checked into, and they used the password to get into it. And then, excuse me, column I shows the IP address. And then when we checked out some tools to locate the IP address, it shows that it came from Nigeria. And then also when we went to take a look at the user account side of things for the user that had the compromised account, it might be very hard to see, and I apologize for the picture, but at the very bottom there, January 26th shows that there was a new sign-on of the user's account from a MacBook in Nigeria. And that also coincides with the logs as shown above, that on January 26th, there was a completed sign-in or access of the user's account for this person. So those were kind of the key items that we were looking for, just to try to verify and triple check if the account was compromised, to see if we could pinpoint where they may have came from. But at the time, it didn't seem of that nature. And then, so as we dug further into Pinelands here, we continue to review the logs and look for several things. There was an IP address associated or contained in the email address that was sent out to all users. And by reviewing that IP address, it showed up several times from the beginning of January through up until the account was deactivated, pending this investigation. And so with all of that coming full circle now, the multiple instances of the IP address, the no suspicious activity on the account or device history, and also seeing that IP address show up almost 50 times in various emails from other emails sent that appear to be regular business emails, as I was referring to them as. It does not suggest that there was a malicious compromise on the account. And that is what our investigation presented itself. So I can stop sharing if you'd like.
Any questions from the board to Pitbull IT? Understand the detail that you provided? Okay. No questions from the board for the Pitbull. Okay. No, at this time, I was asking the board if they had any questions for the representative from the Pitbull IT company. There is not. Okay, so we're done with Pitbull and their presentation.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you for coming on and presenting the information to us.
You are very welcome.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Dr. McCooley.
Thank you. First, I would like to acknowledge Jersey Creations, Christy, Nicola, for etching the tumblers for the Ocean County Roundtable meeting that we had recently. They were beautiful. All of the superintendents really appreciated them, and we want to thank her for that. And I do have something to say in response to the recent event. Over the past few years, I have endured the harassment of remove McCooley signs being placed around the town, a billboard of the same message on Route 9, petitions that held no merit, slanderous posts on social media, and array of emails to the staff and board members with the sole purpose of harassment. As upsetting as this was to my family, friends, board members, and many staff members, I have thick skin and it does not bother me in the very least. If someone wishes to spend so much of his or her time, energy, and money attacking me, that is your choice. I do believe money and time can be better spent on things such as the school district or the students. Recently, however, a line was crossed. An email containing inappropriate and vulgar language by one individual in both audio and text format was intentionally, maliciously, and purposefully forwarded to all users in the Pinelands School District. Staff and parents were appalled and contacted me immediately. The line was crossed because this hateful and irresponsible act involved all students in grades 7 through 12. The students were in shock and the parents were livid. As disheartening and stressful as this entire situation was, I was absolutely flabbergasted when it was brought to my attention that the administration was responsible for orchestrating this disgusting event. I can assure you that not only would I not elect to add more work to my plate, the administration would never put students in harm's way. Ms. Frasca, Mr. Bonnicky, Mr. Dalio, Mr. Donio, and the IT department have been dealing with this incident and other unnecessary nonsense nights and weekends to ensure that our daily responsibilities are accomplished as well. To make the felonious claim that the administration would have orchestrated this lacks any type of intellectual acuity. In closing, thank you to all of the parents, staff, students, and board members for your unwavering support and the love of our school district. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McCooley. Moving into item 5, presentations. We start with the school-based youth services. Good evening, Janelle.
Here and Little Lake Harbor Police Department. Vertically challenged. Thank you for being here. For those of you unaware, Pinelands School-Based Youth Services runs an annual holiday drive for the Pinelands community. We have been doing this since I began 28 years ago, and each year we typically serve on average 70 families with approximately 170 children. The Little Lake Harbor Police Department and our Rotary Club of Great Bay have both been a significant part of our ability to reach so many. School-Based Youth Services is very appreciative of our partnership with them, and it gives me great pleasure to publicly acknowledge their unwavering commitment to this amazing community. Please, both of you, accept these plaques as a small token of our appreciation. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. Karen Kenny with the report on SSDS.
It's just an attachment.
It is it?
Yes. But we
Karen
do
can't
have-
present? I'd like her to. You'll submit your report, your report will stand as submitted. Fantastic, thank you. And then is Mr. Holman here? For the Mr. Rick from Holman, Frenia, and Allison Public Accountants. Denapoli. Welcome with our annual audit presentation.
As you heard, my name is Rick Denapoli. I'm from Holman, Frenia, Allison. We're the school board's auditors. I'd like to thank the board, Dr. McCooley and Amanda for having us here tonight and for your time and efforts during the audit. I know you're a bit of a nuisance when we come in for field work, and it takes a lot of effort to get through this. I'll keep this brief for you, as I understand we have a long agenda tonight. If you'd like more detail on the financial statements, I'd like to refer you to the MD&A. It's an analysis of the financial statements as a whole. It's a comprehensive summary of the financial statements. It's very easy for you to follow. It's about 5 pages long. I'm not going to go through that this evening, though. So our audit is conducted in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America. We issued 3 different opinions on that. One is the independent auditor's report on the basic financial statements, and we're happy to report an unmodified opinion. which basically states that the financial statements are fairly stated in all material respects. We also have a report on internal control over financial reporting. We consider internal controls as part of the planning of our audit, not for the purpose of expressing an opinion. However, our test did not disclose any instances of non-compliance or other matters required to be reported to you. We also issued an independent audit report on compliance and report on internal control over compliance. We are required to do additional audits for any state or federal funds in excess of $750,000. And this year we had both state and federal single audit. The programs that were audited were the Education Stabilization Fund, which is basically the American Rescue Plan funds. That was on the federal side. On the state side, we audited transportation aid, reimbursed TPAF, debt service aid, and extraordinary aid. Again, we issued an unmodified opinion on those programs, which states that the district complied in all material respects with the types of compliance requirements that could have a direct and material effect on each of its state and federal programs for the year ended June 30th, 2023. We have one recommendation that stems from the state single audit, which is simply that the district review procedures to enhance the participation of parents' submission of forms for the semi-program, which is the Medicaid reimbursement from the federal government. The state requires that if you participate, you reach 90% compliance with that. Unless anyone has any questions, that is all I have for you this evening.
Anyone from the board?
Did
we
get a copy of the?
Amanda will provide all of that for you, yes.
It's actually attached. It's up for a vote later on in the agenda, so it is attached to the agenda, but if you'd like a hard copy, I do
Right,
have
because
that.
I went through it as best I could Friday night and Saturday, but I know in the past we've gotten a hard copy. I
Yeah,
was wondered,
we can definitely, I can give you a hard copy.
even if we share one.
And if you need more, we can send.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, moving into item 6 in our work session, board forum. I open the floor to the board for any items at this time. And into item B for new business, same thing, open the floor.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I see we're sending for services to Southern. What services do they specifically have that we don't have?
The agenda item.
This is, oh, I'm sorry, never mind. I'm on 8.
8.
I jumped ahead, never mind.
I mean, we can answer
Oh,
it
no, you can
now.
still
okay,
ask
I
the
can
question.
ask all
Oh,
the
absolutely.
questions
Yeah,
now?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So 8, I think it's. I don't know, I'm still locked out of my computer, so,
It's 8C.
thank you.
So that was actually a student that's been there now for a few years. It's mostly for the transportation and tuition, but it's part of a settlement with the student
Okay.
that chose to be in that school.
Okay, I just wasn't sure, because I know, last year you said you were looking into getting some of the more services here. So then we didn't have to send out of the district, so I was just wondering what specifically, if
Yeah,
that
it was
one
really
or-
more part of the settlement with that
Okay.
student.
Anyone else? We'll move into old business. We have no old business on the docket. So we'll move into item 7 for residents forum, which is on agenda items only. Board policy number 0167 encourages community participation in every meeting. However, the board requests that the public respect a reasonable time limit when commenting on agenda items. I also must remind the board and the audience to eliminate any type of banter between one another, and to not interrupt anyone that is addressing the board from the podium, or again, create banter amongst yourselves. So thank you. At this time, the podium is open for agenda items only. Anyone from the floor?
Hi, everyone. I'm John Zimmerman, 345 Hartley Drive, Little Egg Harbor. My son's going to read a little something I wrote. Please listen real well,
John,
and hear what I'm saying.
is this on an agenda item or open forum? Or
Open forum, sir, Mr. President.
Can I say what can I ask you what it's about?
It's the.
My son just handed it out if you want to skim through it real quick. I wrote it for, really, I wrote it directed to kindergarten through 12th grade. And then the adults, of course, you know, I hope they enjoy it as well. Well, yeah, I hope they enjoy it as well.
Hey, John,
I'm
that's
sorry, I keep walking away.
no, that's okay.
I'm a little shaky. I'm a little,
This will be in the second board forum. Because we're on agenda items only at this time.
when is that?
I would say probably about 15 minutes.
Okay, we'll sit tight. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone for agenda items at this point? The floor is open.
Hi, Laura Erber, 205 Flax Court. I don't believe there's a lot of agendas given out, so maybe that's why the public doesn't know when the forum is for residents. Just
If
If you go on our website,
Yeah.
there's a link on our website.
aren't they typically given out though at the meeting?
I mean, we normally have enough to cover our normal attendance, but you know, we didn't anticipate this much of a crowd.
There was
so-
only one when I walked in, only one
Okay,
printed
There
so
was, I
far.
believe, 20 or more printed originally.
Okay,
So
okay.
it is available on our website
okay, thank
to
you.
view digitally.
So two other questions on the agenda. With the presentation, how many board members are privy to the access, the all user access? Is that typical of a board member having all user access to emails?
So, the questions that get asked of the board, as we did in the past, we will either answer them at the end of the meeting or reply, you know.
Okay,
to
you don't have an answer for that right now.
So, may I or will? I mean, everyone's email is accessible through.
No, I just meant in the sent emails. Are you?
Kelly, do not interrupt, please.
Are you able to send to all users from your board emails typically? Is that-
No longer.
Is that
So
something
it was
that
something that was
typically
in our
happens?
emails, our Google email, we could email almost anybody in the Pinelands Regional District. It was just part of the email setup.
So the
I'm
board
not-
members
I'm
have
not-
that privilege to do that.
I wouldn't call it a privilege, but
I'm just asking.
it's
typically.
accessibility.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. And then one more question on the agenda so far, the 90% that the auditor spoke of Medicaid compliance, what does that refer to, the semi program?
That's the special education Medicaid initiative. All school districts are required under the fiscal accountability regulations to try and maximize the ability to get reimbursed for special education services through Medicaid, through students who qualify for that program.
So is the reporting only 90%
No, I think-
compliant? or-
Yeah, and I think, actually, I think the recommendation was just to try to continue to encourage, because ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to get parent buy-in to do it. Just like with free and reduced lunch, what have you. Sometimes it's hard to convince parents that these programs that are so essential are really beneficial for them, and people overlook them.
And that's a reimbursement to the district, right?
Yeah.
If you submit for it.
Yes, well, really, the state's doing it so that the state doesn't have to give you as much as they would have to give.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the floor on agenda items only at this time? I'll go once, twice, thrice. We're moving on to the next part of our meeting. Moving into item 8, instructional. I would ask for a motion to approve items 8A through 8E as recommended by the superintendent.
Motion.
Second.
Are there any questions on items 8A through 8E? No questions? Amanda, roll call vote, please.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Patty Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman. Yes. Mr. Dalio.
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes.
Ms. Crystal Martin,
Or abstain from me.
extension of.
Very good. Motion passes.
I'm sorry, yes.
That's
motion
okay.
carries.
Very good. I'm moving into item 9. I would ask for a motion in personnel to approve items 9A through 9O as recommended by the superintendent.
I have 2 questions.
We got the motions first.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then we, okay.
Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Can you explain what the honorary is for theater? And are these current students that are getting paid the stipends or alumni?
Yeah, I did answer your question through your email, but those are not, we don't pay students for, it's our choral director and a secretary. So that's helping out with the play. So it's a stipend for extra work that they're doing.
For up to the 6 assistants, because we approved some last
So
meeting, I think.
they're called assistants, but some of them are musicians.
Okay,
So we have the pit orchestra. They're just all, there's like levels of earning. So there's
Okay.
drama assistant 1 has a certain earning, drama assistant 2.
gotcha.
So there could be multiple drama assistants, say 3, and Matt can help me with this. And that they're gonna be all of our pit orchestra people are all gonna be considered the same, and then they get a payment.
Okay.
So it's just level categories.
Okay.
Different roles that get filled in the production, being set construction to
Okay, thank you. And then the 9th period stipend.
6 period.
Sixth period, yeah.
So that is all the teachers are contractual to teach 5 classes. If they're asked to teach a 6th class,
Okay,
we offer them a 6 period stipend.
thank you.
So it gets paid out in marking periods.
Okay, thank you.
So you'll see that 4 times throughout the year.
Any other questions on items 9A through 9O? There being none, Amanda, roll call vote, please.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt,
Yes.
Miss Johnson,
Yes.
Miss Martin, Patty Martin.
Yes.
Sorry, I'll take a minute to get used to that. Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Miss Zimmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio.
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes.
Miss Crystal Martin,
Abstain.
noted. Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving into item 10 under HIB. I ask for a motion to approve HIB item 10A as recommended by the superintendent.
Second.
Are there any questions on item 10A? There being none, Amanda, roll call vote, please.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt,
Yes.
Miss Johnson, I would ask you to
Abstain.
abstain on everything.
Yes.
Noted. Miss Martin, Patty Martin.
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman,
Yeah.
Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes.
Ms. Crystal Martin,
Abstain.
noted. Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving into item 11, policies and procedures. We have none at this time that we're discussing or voting on. Moving into item 12, operations. I ask for a motion to approve operations, items 12A through 12D as recommended by the superintendent.
Motion.
Thank you. Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions on items 12A through 12D? I see no questions. Amanda, roll call vote, please.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Patty Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes.
Ms. Crystal Martin,
Abstain.
noted, motion carries.
Item 13E. Motion to acknowledge receipt of the Treasury Report and Board Secretary's report, which are in agreement for the period ending December 31 of 2023. They have a motion to acknowledge.
Motion.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Good choice. Any questions?
Who
On the
was that? I'm sorry, who's second to that?
Betty Ann,
Thank you.
any questions on the treasurer's report?
Yes, I have questions.
Just one second, hold on, I was
Yep.
looking it up. Okay,
The Odyssey, the comic book, what grade is that for? On the bills
is it a
list?
bills list?
Yeah,
Kelly's here.
Yeah, it's a graphic novel on the comic book, and it's for the high school freshman class, for our CP level students, so you can.
okay, okay. Thank you. And then, I know you explained this to me last time, but I didn't have access to my email to refer back to it. AIL 23-24.
So AIL stands for aid in lieu. So there's students that go to private schools that get aid in lieu of transportation. So instead of
Okay.
us paying for transportation, it's often cheaper to pay the parent in aid in lieu payment.
Okay, thank you. And then, oh,
Yeah, they just get paid out twice a year. is what
Okay.
I was gonna ask.
and then I see there were some, like 3 cell phone bill reimbursements for several employees. Are they like several months rolled into like one, or are they 3 cell phones, or?
I explained that in the email also.
I left that in my email. Yeah, but
the-
I can't have personal emails, like
Okay.
the board stuff.
It's fine. So certain employees are entitled to cell phone reimbursements. The total is $480 a year.
Okay.
We typically pay it out in 4 installments of 120. That 40 is the monthly, so it's 40 a month. It
Okay.
totals 120. It's just how the accounts payable person put it on the bills list.
Okay. And then, I see that there's parental transportation contracts.
So that's kind of the same as the aid in lieu.
Okay.
It's for a placement, and it's often cheaper. Sometimes the transportation is not available. Or if it's cheaper and the parent is willing and able, we have transportation contracts with parents.
Okay, and then the mold remediation, where was the mold? What was the cause of the mold and the type of mold?
I don't know exactly the type of mold. I'd have to look at the reports. It was in the band room storage, and it was from moisture.
Moisture.
And the moisture issue has been addressed?
Yes, and we also, we had the remediation company come in, we repainted the room, we checked rooms, we've checked on it, and there has been no further issues.
Okay, thank you.
Before we vote, I'm remiss, I made a mistake in reading the items under
I think,
number 13.
yeah, that's why I got a
I,
little messed up.
yeah, I blended, after we approved 12A through 12B, I started going down, I missed 13 altogether, so we kind of went into A through E. So the motion on the floor was to approve the treasurer's report. Can I rescind that and ask for, I'd like to
To do the entire, do the
To
entire block.
vote the
I
enti-
believe
the
so.
entire
Whoever made the
block.
first and second can
So
say.
Augie made the motion, Betty Ann seconded it, so I'm going to rescind that. Yes, done. Okay, I know. 13 unlucky number on that hotel floor. Okay, so I'm going to offer a new motion.
This is for 13A
For-
through N.
Yes, so and for a motion to approve the board secretary, business administrator reports, items 13A through 13N.
Motion.
Second.
Are there any other questions? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
13, I think it's G. Low pressure black seal training at $600 each for the superintendent, assistant superintendent, and the business administrator. Is that typical? Is that needed?
So no one can open the district unless you have a Black Seal license.
Okay.
We all wanted to get it, so if there's ever a time that there's an emergency, or for example, there's sometimes there's not coverage for the play. There was a time that for stands, they were here at 5:30 in the morning. It was 21 degrees. They couldn't wait and stand in the building because there was no one here that had a Black Seal. So we offered to get the training so that in those types of events, we can open the building. We're not allowed in the building unless we have a Black Seal license.
Okay, and we just approved, or we're voting on the facilities manager to do that. Does the facility supervisor take that class also?
Yes, all of the current facilities, well, there's some that are newer that are currently taking the program, but they're all required to have that license.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on items 13A through 13N? Seeing none. Amanda, roll call vote, please.
Okay. This is on.
Items
okay.
13A
All right, I
through
got it.
13N.
So, Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt,
Yes.
Miss Johnson,
Do you want the yeses or the nos first? Or do you want me to go like A, B, C, D?
let me go back to a different screen. You also need to abstain from anything from Dr. McCooley.
But that's still pending.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, because they received my,
I have a copy right here if you want to see it.
No, listen, I'm quite confident that I believe it would be in Ms. Johnson's best interest to abstain from anything regarding Dr. McCooley.
it's,
Whatever she does, she does.
yep. Okay.
All right.
So would you like the
just
yes?
Go
or
with
the
the
nos?
nose first, or whatever you want to start with. Yes.
Okay, yes, A, B, F as in Frank, H as in Henry, I as in Igloo, J as in Jason, K, L, M as in Mary. Nose, C, D as in David, E as in Edward, N as in no.
C, D, E, and N,
Mhm,
and no abstentions.
correct. And am I able to change my vote for item for 9C or no? That's fine if I can't.
9C in the agenda.
9C1.
Change something for a new hire.
Normally, once you've announced whether something's passed, it's
Okay.
too late to
That's
change the vote.
Okay, Miss Patty Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes,
Crystal Martin,
Abstain.
noted, motion carries.
I made you work hard there, didn't I? I gotta test you once in a while.
I'm up on my game.
They're pretty good. Item 14, informational items. Those were all attached.
President Bonnicky, I'm sorry,
Yes.
I don't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
I didn't say G,
Okay, which category is that in? Yes, no,
13G.
okay,
Yes for the training, except for number 7, 11, and 14.
seven, 11,
14 is it, except that a no for 7, 11, and 14.
Correct.
Noted.
yes, noted.
Okay, moving into item 15, residents forum on general topics. Board policy number 0167 encourages community participation in every meeting. However, the board requests that the public respect a reasonable time when commenting on any topic. Reasonable time is 3 minutes per person. I must remind the board and the audience to avoid interruptions of anyone speaking. if there's a question, when you're addressing the board, if there's a question to the board that can be answered, we will answer it at the end of the meeting. And if we cannot provide an answer, I'll ensure that you'll get that answer within 2 days via email. You'll write your name and email legibly on the, at the podium. John Zimmerman, I'm going to invite you back up to the podium as a courtesy as the first one to run when you had some opportunity.
Again, I'm John Zimmerman, 345 Hartley Lane, Little Egg Harbor. I'm not going to go through what I went through 10 minutes or 45 minutes ago. I'm going to just ask, I'm going to back up and say the same thing our president said, Mr. Bonnicky. I'm just going to ask, this is not a debate. This is not an argument. This is just, I'm looking to say something and leave you with a thought to go home with tonight. So here's my son, Henry.
Good evening, Pinelands community, members of the board and administrative leadership team. My name is John Zimmerman and I have been a resident for 48 years. I attended kindergarten through 6th grade at Tuckerton Elementary School. Then I attended Pinelands 7th through 12th class of 1994. I then worked in several trades locally to the age of 23. After I went to work for a small retail general contracting company, completing mall stores as a site manager. By age 28, I was a project manager and I was offered a job with a big box corporate retailer to build 30 locations across the US and Canada per year. At age 31, I met my wonderful wife, and by age 32, we were married, and we decided that one of us had to leave the corporate world to be home and raise our children. So I started my own handyman business for a flexible schedule to take care of the kids. I ran this business for 8 years. At age 33, we had our first child, followed by number 2 and number 3. At age 41, after years of coaching my children in soccer, wrestling, and football, my wife retired me to work with the youth organizations, community nonprofit organizations, and build our farm. I then took on more responsibilities that led to leadership roles within these organizations. To take it a step further, I decided to run for Little Egg Harbor School District in 2018 and was seated board member from 2019 to 2021. When my term ended, my wife then became a Pinelands District board member in 2022. All 3 of my children are now 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, and are coaching children in younger grades. As you can see, the Zimmermans are dedicated to making our community a better place to live. Now that you know a little bit about me, my wife, and my children, please let me share with you what I know about the Pinelands School District. Please try to relax, listen, and understand the following facts regarding the current conditions of our Pinelands Regional School District programs. All the great things that are built start with a great leader. Our great leader is Dr. Melissa McCooley. Administration. Dr. Melissa McCooley has built a very powerful team. Board of Education. The majority of our Board of Education is strong, intelligent, and hardworking for our community. Their hearts are in the right place, and I thank the community for putting them in those chairs. Staff. Dr. Melissa McCooley has assembled top-notch staff members as part of our team, and many of them are returning Wildcat family. Academics. Our state and national rankings have improved significantly. Theater and arts. This program has been top-notch in the country for decades. Sports. With the renovation of our stadium and all of the fresh new coaching staff, we have improved significantly over the last 5 years. Grants. Over $4 million in the last 5 years. Colleges. We are currently partnered with Stockton and Ocean County College, and we will also be partnered with Rutgers by the beginning of next year. Military. Added junior ROTC program. Special need programs are getting better and better every day. Facility. High school renovation is absolutely beautiful. The military display, the trophies case, and the banners in the gym. The new wrestling room. The floors are shining. Our high school is absolutely beautiful, and the middle school is not far behind. And one of the most important is that we are leader in the Ocean County safety and security initiatives. Dr. Melissa McCooley has proven to be an outstanding leader with a focus on what is best for the students, the staff, and the facility. As with any thriving organization, there is vulnerability to threats as is progress and wellness. At the moment, we have one board member that is hindering our progress towards greatness. I ask the Board of Education, the community, and everyone that can help us remove Stephanie Johnson from her seat at the board. I will be sending out.
Yes, exactly.
I asked you to not interrupt the speaker. Everyone is allotted an affordable. Please do not interrupt the speaker. Enough.
I will be sending out a petition for signatures, and I hope to get enough support to make this happen. Thank you all who came out tonight, and a special thanks to my Pinelands Wrestling family.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the floor?
I'm allowed 5 minutes too, right?
Yes, it's under a reasonable amount of time.
I'm here tonight to express my support for Stephanie Johnson, and I have observed a concerning pattern in this administration and board. If one does not align with their plans, directives, they will stop at nothing to eliminate them. In April of 2021, Tommy Williams, a longtime board member from 1998 June to 2021, was accused of suspicious activity on the board email account. However, upon investigation by the police, no evidence of criminal wrongdoing was found. Patricia Chambers tendered her resignation on June 16th, 2021, after serving as a longstanding board member. The decision came following unresolved issues related to harassment and intimidation that created an unfavorable atmosphere. A longtime veteran shop teacher, Mr. Howard Berry, started his career in 1986 and eventually retired in January 2022. He became a board member of Little Lake Harbor. However, allegations arose regarding the unauthorized use of school property in August of 2022. Although no criminal charges resulted from this accusation either. Stephanie Johnson was hired as a preschool aide in September of 2018 and was terminated in February of 2022 due to false allegations, retaliation for supporting the McCooley petition, and attempting to exercise her rights under FMLA prior to becoming an outspoken critic of the superintendent during and after COVID learning. Ms. Johnson had no blemishes on her unemployment record and is currently being intimidated to the present day. It is important we recognize and address these tactics which underline trust. We can't let fear mongering rule our school systems and allow such behavior from elected officials or hired to serve students. Also, I would like to know why Melissa McCooley and her husband were on the Real Parents page and joined the page and was harassing me, Yvonne, and a whole bunch of other parents on the page while she was on vacation in Mexico. I would like an answer to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I go to the voting? As like.
Yeah, you're a resident, kiddo.
Well, I don't know. Okay. Hello. So, oh, wait. Okay. So I want to start off by saying that I appreciate everyone for sharing their time and commitment with this board. However, I am disheartened to say what I'm about to say. I want to try to keep it short. As a student, I feel frustrated towards the events that have been taking place at these meetings, from the attitudes, the arguments, the harsh comments made regarding any peoples. I think we, in total, have lost focus of this board. That should be the students. As a student, I know that we as a district take pride in instructing students to not only be respectful, but to act responsibly. And so I say this with passion. We as students expect the same from the board, from all of us. I ask us to all reclaim the main priority of this board, that being the students, their education, and of course, the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
So very well said, Ms. Smith. I was going to say, thank you for your excellent report you gave tonight.
Thank you.
Spoke to the achievements of the district. And you're right, that's what we should be focusing on instead of behaviors. Like at the last board meeting, I was just very disheartened as well and surprised how the meeting devolved after the board forum began. I just walked out when two members were fighting last month. What a bad example for this nice young woman who volunteers her time to learn about how elected officials behave or should behave at public meetings. How unfortunate. Dr. McCooley, if the district's mission statement is to, and I quote from the website, create a positive culture and space to encourage lifelong and personalized learning opportunities for students, staff, families, and community members, you and some board members certainly did not portray that goal at last month's meeting. Tonight, I remind the superintendent that board members are community members too, and it's perfectly lawful for one to come and ask questions at this meeting about a public agenda item on either district's agenda. It's my personal opinion that if Dr. McCooley would spend as much time trying to elevate the standards in this district as she does trying to denigrate community members, this might be a successful school district by all measures. We saw some very talented students here last month at Pinelands, but unfortunately, many of us were also subject to sitting through a presentation that was unnecessary. It could have been remediated by a simple phone call. I just ask you to be the bigger person, Dr. McCooley. Another thing I read on the Pinelands website was a quote by Marian Wright Edelman. Education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it. If this is truly the professional climate you are trying to foster, Dr. McCooley, I must say I'm not seeing it. You have many talented staff here, that I'm sure of. But if you keep harassing and intimidating people, you will never succeed in the goals set before you. And as a public school employee and servant in this community, Dr. McCooley, if you only get along with the people that agree with you, how can you foster lifelong learning and a positive culture here? Lastly, I will remind this Board of Education that Dr. McCooley is your one direct employee, and she is fully accountable to you. Furthermore, I implore this board to uphold the goals on your website, and I would like to see you model them for the student body here at Pinelands. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Anyone else from the floor?
My name's Christopher Johnson, 4 Conchetta Court. Stephanie Johnson's spouse. The words are my own, but I have lived with what's been going on for over the past 2 years. Shame on the board members for putting so much focus on my wife instead of focusing on the kids of the school district. She was elected to ask questions and hold people accountable. If that riles you up so much, then maybe you need to look into the mirror and ask yourself why. Maybe if seeing a red line through your name disgusts you so much, maybe don't run for an elected position. Maybe if you feel the need to verbally threaten a female board member and request they meet you outside, maybe you are unfit to represent the children of our district. Maybe if you feel the need to verbally assault another board member 2 days after her father passed away to take advantage of her emotions, maybe you are unfit to hold the position that you sit in. Maybe if you are in charge of a school district and you're being sued for wrongful termination, you should not have your husband stalk, harass, and intimidate the person suing you. Maybe the person in charge of handling resumes and sensitive private information should not provide those documents to their spouse who's unaffiliated with the school in order to intimidate and harass the person suing you. Maybe one's husband shouldn't ask someone who's suing their wife when they can meet up, as maybe that someone fears for their children's safety after being stalked and harassed. Maybe when one requests a copy of a board meeting, it's actually sent to them. I'm on my 4th request. I still did not get last month's board meeting. Maybe when someone asks a superintendent a question, they don't get a demeaning and undermining response. Maybe a superintendent can check who a candidate's friends are before calling the business owners and telling them that they're a bad person. Maybe having an assistant superintendent run for the Board of Ed, which you are the superintendent of, is just a bad decision. And maybe when that assistant superintendent got embarrassed on election night, maybe it's time to reevaluate your vision of the school. Maybe reviewing the last couple Board of Ed election cycles can show you taxpayers are unhappy with you. Maybe spending $1 million on a new administration building is a poor use of taxpayer funds. Maybe a board member attending a board candidate meet and greet and representing themselves as a board member and harassing and calling names to the candidate is a poor decision. Maybe we need people in charge who are willing to provide checks and balances on our leaders. Maybe you should elect a new board president and a vice president who our school district deserves. Maybe you guys should do the job you were actually elected to do, and maybe, just maybe, not threaten my wife again. I am proud of my wife. She is a strong female. She asks questions. She has given tens of thousands of dollars to our youth sports programs over the past 3 years. She is a consistent volunteer in the PTA. She is a consistent volunteer at baseball, softball, soccer. She's a consistent volunteer at the food banks. She's a consistent volunteer on the environmental cleanup. She's a good person. She deserves to sit in that seat. So shame on you all for attacking her. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the floor? Young lady, come on up.
Skylar Ballin, 110 East Willits Ave. Good evening, Board of Ed members and community. I'm speaking to you tonight on the basis of previous board meeting antics and the inappropriate behavior following such. To give insight as to why I have decided to even speak upon this matter, I believe I am one of the few students who can come up here and speak as a well-rounded individual with the ability to analyze this from varying perspectives. I'm the president of the National Honor Society as well as the Triumph Honor Society, member of the Thespian Society, senior student government member, varsity athlete year-round, and a student who is involved in over 15 clubs and activities here at Pinelands, not to mention a graduate from OCC. Out of the many students at Pinelands, if anyone can come up here and speak about bias without bias and a one-sided perspective, it is me. I hope to be respected and listened to in a mature manner and not as a child. I was in attendance at the previous meeting and observed unprofessional and disrespectful behavior from the get-go. The problems that were faced at the previous meeting were not to be blamed on one specific board member, but from multiple. I am unaware of any personal issues or dislikes any of you have with each other, so I'm simply stating what I observed and not based on any previous interactions you may have had with each other. I was disappointed when, after it had been suggested at student government meetings to come support our class president and sit in on one of these meetings, that my first time attending, I was immediately given a negative opinion. The first issue became apparent after an 8th grader had pointed out to me was the disrespect from a board member as the drama students were about to perform, including looks of disgust and displeasure. I do not feel it is necessary to point out specific members, but this member also refused to hand out medals to the finalists when their performance concluded. Even if you do not support the performing arts, you as a Board of Education member should support all forms of education as the title insinuates. You may have your own opinions, but no matter what, you do not bring others down when they succeed. I ask this out of respect. Where is your trophy? Where is your medal? Things got out of hand when the discussion of removing a fellow board member arose. Multiple members of the board acted extremely unprofessional and childish, if I may say, but this was only the beginning. Following this, after some time, the public session started and several members of the community came up to speak as they have the right to do so. However, the reactions to those that spoke were some of the most contemptuous and jeering comments I have heard from an adult in many years. I'm attempting to refrain from naming specific board members, but I feel it is obvious as to who I'm speaking about. You as a high-ranking board member should know of all people how to properly act in a professional setting. Once a comment or statement is made by the public, you acknowledge it and continue. You do not taunt and berate them, even if you do not agree. Yes, those who came up here and spoke should have, of course, acted like the mature adults you all should have been raised to become. But as the board, you're responsible for setting the example. How can you get upset at those who simply express their opinion when you can't treat them like adults? Follow what the bar has been set for us as students. Treat others the way you want to be treated. I'm not up here to ridicule you, rather to express my extreme disappointment in your leadership skills. Be the bigger person and move on. Do not drag something out and create a bigger problem. I should not have to stand up here and teach you the simple principles we were taught in kindergarten. I should not remind you that you must respect others, be kind, and even just use your listening ears. All of these sound like I'm treating you like children, because that is how you've treated other adults. When certain members in the community became belligerent to those around them, we fueled the fire, not put it out. In terms of the disgusting email the entire school district received on Wednesday, January 24th, that was an act of misconduct and misuse of power. It disrupted my school day as I had people asking me about the aforementioned meeting, which I was uncomfortable with. It made me feel guilty for being at a meeting I had every right to attend and put a huge target on my back to other students, allowing them to interrupt my learning. It was then when I found out from a teacher who had no bad intentions that they told one of their classes that they were not allowed to talk about the board meeting, but that Skylar Ballin was there and that they could ask her. This teacher did not mean to disrupt my day in any way, but affected me the rest of the day. I was not upset by this, but rather nervous the rest of the day, fearing that groups of people would come up to me and ask about what happened, since word spread fast through teenagers, if you know anything about them. It was only until after school that I heard jokes about the email, but the email alone. These people were unaware of the events leading up to it, which honestly annoyed me, because how can you joke about a topic you don't understand? Anyways, the initial email felt like the appropriate response to the events that occurred that night, and such content should not have been shared. Luckily, I left before people became impudent and disgraced their own reputations. You do not realize how quickly things spread when you provide it to a platform such as the internet. A secure email is still connected to the internet. I can assure that recording of the meeting was downloaded and shared across media. Those who have no connection to Pinelands have heard that recording. Is that the image you want to give our school? What I also do not understand is why the board member who forwarded the email to the entire district would do such a thing when it puts you in a negative light. Your actions have consequences, or so I thought they did. What would happen if a student leaked private information that could seriously hurt someone? That student would most likely be suspended or seriously penalized due to becoming a HIP violation. But where's the punishment here? You want your students to act properly and respect those around them, but how can they when their school role models are hypocritical of their behavioral standards? I will end it with this. I am extremely disappointed with the actions of several board members. There is much more I could talk about in regards to this, but I do not want to take up any more time. As adults, you should act like one. The behavior that I witnessed firsthand was unacceptable and unexpected. I urge you to reconsider your actions and reevaluate yourselves. This cannot continue and needs to be put to a stop before it interferes with our learning day once again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else from the floor?
Hello, Yvonne Gandolfo, 126 Greenwood Lake Road, Little Lake Harbor. I was actually asked by my former student and my current student not to come up and speak because they are in fear of retaliation against certain things. However, just as Skylar and Johanna gracefully spoke, I do think as a taxpayer and a mother of a daughter that is a senior, that the kids should not have been subjected to this ridiculousness. When my 17-year-old can have an adult conversation with me, as these two kids could, and say, you know what, Mom, they're acting like children. That's pretty powerful, which is basically what those two said. So again, my daughter did not want me to come up here because she did not want me to say anything because I am considered a big mouth. But I can assure you, she graduates this June, and I will definitely be attending more and advocating not only for my kids that just left, but for the community kids, because I am a taxpayer and I have every right to be here and speak for the kids going through the system because I actually care about them. So I hope we can all start acting like adults and remember, we're here for the children. Well, you're here for the children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Melanie Sanko Viscardi, 55 Portsmouth Lane, Tuckerton. I'm a relatively new resident in this town. I just returned back from Manchester. I lived up there, well, lived down here for 10 years and came back down to this wonderful place, fantastic place where my dad was a teacher for many years, John Sanko. I don't know if anybody knew him, but as a parent, first and foremost, teacher, former president of Ocean County School Boards Association, former vice president of Manchester Board of Education, and now resident of Tuckerton. What is going on here is absolutely unsettling. It is sickening, like to my stomach when I saw what I saw. If I ever behaved like that on the Manchester Board of Education, I'd be asked to leave. When I saw what I saw, we were a team, we were united, and we worked together for the children and the amazing staff. These kids are incredible, incredible. Just came from a basketball game. They did really good, those girls. All right, but
Excuse me, ma'am, just address the board. Don't.
well, there's people here that want to hear it too.
I appreciate that, but it'd probably be better if you address the board through the microphone.
Well, guess
I
what? When
don't
I
hear.
was a board member, I did the same thing.
Okay.
And if you have a problem with that, I'm so sorry. Anyway, your job as a Board of Education is to conduct yourselves appropriately and set examples as role models as our children look up to you. And you know that. Young lady here, you're doing a great job sitting here representing the children. It was unacceptable when I saw a president call out a new board member and for a new board member to go back at a president. The engagement was very reprehensible. In my personal opinion, I think you need to discuss those things behind closed doors. You need to be a united front. Your job here is to celebrate, like I said, these incredible children. And what about the amazing staff that you have in these buildings? Amazing. You represent them. You should all be beyond embarrassed. And for our children and the staff to read such disgusting emails from a board member, you should be ashamed of yourself. Seriously. Board of Ed members should be serving on the board with the best interest of the students and staff, not for anyone's personal agenda. Are you here for the right reasons? Think about it. You should be planning, setting policy, and evaluating results. You know that. I'm curious, have the new board members have they gone to Governance 1 training yet? Governance 1 training, by the way, according to New Jersey School Board Association, is the training that a new board member must go through within 90 days. Has that happened? Well, we need to learn how to go to those things. It's mandatory. It needs to happen. You need to go to the trainings within 90 days, like I said. The president of Ocean County School Boards Association, Rich Casey, sent a message. He wanted me to inform you that you all should attend their meetings. They're pretty educational, and you can get a lot of good training for free. The next meeting is 8th grade dialogue, which is an amazing event, by the way. Great event where we celebrate, or they celebrated. I haven't been involved in that for 2 years, but it was something I really enjoyed doing, where they celebrate all the 8th graders for every school district in Ocean County. An amazing event. When you hear these kids talk about all the experiences that they go through with public education, it's incredible that you see that they're in 8th grade. I hope that you all begin to work together as a team for our children, for our staff. You know, our staff's been through a lot, just like these kids through this pandemic. They need you. They are amazing. They should be celebrated at each and every board meeting. Every board meeting, a staff member, more students being celebrated. I know I used to do it. I used to compliment a staff member or several staff members at every board meeting. We'd all have a chance to talk. Any a member would share a little bit that they would like to share. And I'd compliment a lot of things that I saw. I went to a lot of events. I was always out in the community. I was always watching what was happening at a basketball game, at a soccer game, not the ones my kids played, but I went to other events. I went to bands, concerts. You go out there, you let them see what you're doing and what you're all about. Work together. These kids, these staff need you. Take the trainings. It's important to do it. It benefits you as a person and as a board member. Last thing I say is leave your egos at the door. You are here for the children. You are here for the staff. Let's set the priorities. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. Anyone else from the floor?
Hi, Haley Barchetto, 150 Parkertown Drive, Little Lake Harbor. I am a current 11th grader, student at Pinelands Regional, and having lived in this town my entire life, I've witnessed the ups and downs of this town, but some of the most beautiful moments have been when our community came together in unity. The purpose of the board is to make the school district the best it can be for students. Again, like Miss Smith and Miss Ballin beautifully said, the emphasis on students. It is very disappointing and very disheartening when the views of not just the board members, but community members are clouded with personal vendettas. It is again very unfortunate that personal views and personal problems are getting in the way of students and upholding their education. To comment on the email that was sent to everyone on the school district, including my 13-year-old little sister and numerous other middle schoolers, I'm honestly still appalled. Appalled that it was not just mine, but most students' learning that was disrupted. The prime reason that we go to school was disrupted by the very people that are supposed to uphold these principles. I just want to urge the board to look within themselves and reconsider your reasons for being on the board. I really hope when you reconsider, the reason you're sitting on that board is for the students.
Thank you, Haley. Anyone else? Hello, Laura.
I just have one follow-up question that Mr. Johnson asked. The recording, I requested that about a week ago as well, and I did not get a copy. So could I please, I'm publicly requesting a recording of last meeting of them. I'm sorry? Oh. Yeah. I'm not so sure who is, but I did request it via the proper way.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the floor?
I just have a question. I was just curious if the board got together and had conversations about the live streaming and why us parents have to give our address, the reason why we want to access that live stream and all our information to be able to access it. If you're saying as a board that I heard Mr. Dalio say the last time at the last meeting was because of us keyboard warriors, that's not an excuse because we still can access the, sorry, I lost my train of thought. We could still access the meetings no matter what. If we still have to ask for it, we still can talk about it online. And honestly, you guys all on the board here, bring up the problems on your own. I mean, Mr. Benaki, look what you did last week. That was way over the top. And I just noticed tonight how sweet you're being tonight. But last week you were a big mess. Did we have a conversation about the live streams?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Thank you, Kelly. Anyone else from the floor? Once. Anyone else twice? We will close public forum or residence forum. Moving into board forum, I will start to my right. Mrs. Zimmerman.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone for coming out tonight and showing your support. Just want to echo what a great administration we have here, the students and the staff. And I echo what everyone did say here is that there should be no personal vendettas or agendas if you are on this board. So I'm looking forward to continuing our great work together in 2024.
Thank you. Mrs. Johnson.
I just wanted to say a few things. Thank you for coming out. I know the circumstance wasn't that great, but this was going to be my public statement to address the incident that happened to the Pinelands school community, especially our students and their guardians. On January 24th, 2024, a sensitive email was inadvertently sent to all district users. This email was not intended to be shared to any persons other than the Pinelands board members. The original email from Assistant Superintendent Gina Frasca was a complaint about myself and language that was used after the board meeting had adjourned and the public was no longer present. Ms. Frasca and her secretary recorded an interaction between me and the board president. A portion of that audio was attached in her email where I used profanity. To all the students, I am sorry you received this email and had access to this language. I am sincerely sorry to the teaching staff, as I am sure it's disrupted learning for the day, more on the administration side than the students. This should never have happened, and it was not intentional as the administration was led our community to believe. It was a complete user error, and I take responsibility. Please know it was not sent purposely or intentionally. I do not apologize for the use of my language at the time it was used and who it was directed towards. I stand firm in my actions of standing up for myself after being verbally attacked by fellow board members, Ms. McVeigh, Board President Bonnicky, Vice President DeLeo, and the board secretary, Ms. Miller. I will always stand up for what is right, and that is why I believe I was elected in the first place. I refuse to sit idly by when someone tries to discredit my character or calls me a liar. I will always stand my ground. I refuse to be intimidated, nor will I allow them to obstruct me from performing my sworn duties. I will always be accountable for my actions, will always do what is right, and have raised my children to do the same. For those students that are getting bullied, I hope you find the courage to always stand up for yourselves and never give power over to those who are ignorant and filled with hate. Be proud of who you are and walk with your head up high. I know only a few in the community are upset, understandably, while a larger group knows the backstory and events of the past 2 years. I ask you to think how you would react when it is 6 against 1, and why the superintendent, assistant superintendent, business administrator, and some board members are so threatened by my presence rather than running the district for the benefit of our children. I hope to put this behind us and hope we can all grow from this unfortunate incident. On a positive note, I just wanted to say thank you to the baseball parents. They held a nice spaghetti dinner fundraiser the other night at the Redmonds. And I hope that, we could get more of the school money to those athletics instead of having to fundraise.
Thank you, Mrs. Johnson. Mrs. Crystal Martin, new territory for you.
Yes, welcome. Thank you. I have joined the board at such a lovely time, it seems. So the very warm welcome. I thought that we had such a good turnout to see my first meeting, but I guess there was other things to discuss tonight. I am very excited to start work. Today was very hard. I did have to abstaining from all of the votes today. It was difficult, a lot of hard work, but I don't know any of you yet, and I have no feelings for or against any of you. And I'm here for the students, Joanna, like you said. That's why I wanted to be on the board. Not to relitigate any actual or perceived slights from the past with anyone, but to really support the students and the staff. And I hope going forward, I get to know all of you better and, do some good work here. So I look forward to that. And I do look forward to discussing bringing back live streaming of the meetings, but we've talked about that later.
Thank you, Crystal. Mrs. Betty.
I don't have much to say tonight about what's going on, but I believe a lot of it was said about we're here for the children, period, whatever our personal, issues may be. And none of that really matters. That's not the bottom line. The bottom line is how can we make sure that our kids get the support they need. That is our job. That is all there is. And everything else is just so much background noise. Plugged for Little Mermaid, that's I'm always gonna go there. And to all the wonderful things that our very successful students are doing here. There's a lot of good work. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Lisa. Mrs. Patty Martin.
Thank you everyone for coming out tonight, and also the Biscardi, Melanie, thank you. Thank you to everyone for your comments, but Melanie, I listened to some of the, county meetings online virtually that you, attended, especially my first year as a board member. And to this day, things that you said and taught and spoke of it stayed with me, and I'm thrilled that you're in the area. And just, as a community member now, I think that you could be, a great asset. So thank you. Thank you for everything you said. Just a couple things. Yes, The Little Mermaid, February 29th. Very exciting. The signs, you're starting to see them up around town. So that's great. One thing that I feel we've all been remiss in mentioning is our bus drivers. I know it's different dates throughout the country, but there is a National School Bus Driver Day. Doesn't matter when we choose to celebrate it, but I think we owe them a lot, and I'd like to thank them for, everything that they do to keep our kids safe, and also the those that perform maintenance on the buses. I mean, they get us through the bad weather and everything. I feel sometimes they're overlooked, and that's how the kids' day is started. And, it's those smiles. So recognizing the bus drivers. Also, Senora Trinelli, the Pulsera project's going to be starting up again soon. So look for the different items for sale with that. Also, I love reading The Cat Attack. I know I've said this in the past to the students in that sports marketing class. You're amazing, and you're really doing a good job. So thank you for that. To those getting ready, a lot of the seniors have chosen their colleges, their vocational schools, their trades, the military, just wherever you're, the decisions that you're making. I wish you all, we all do, wish you all the best with that, and good luck with everything. I know the fashion show's coming up. That's always a lot of fun. And we can't forget about the academic competition team having an event on the 22nd. So thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. And I think we have a great school. And
Thank you, Patty.
thank you.
Mr. Hewitt, go right ahead. Well-deserved applause. Mr. Hewitt.
Thank you, Ms. Martin, for sharing that. I would like to thank the public for being here and being involved, especially for the students that got up and shared. It's nerve-wracking to talk in front of the public to begin with, but thank you for doing that. And we hear your message, the public. The events of our last board meeting were very unfortunate on many different fronts. I don't think we can pinpoint exactly just one particular person, but we as a board need to behave in a way that sets an upright example for our community, for our students. We are held to that standard, and that is an important thing. And really, as I've sat and thought about this over the past couple of weeks, I feel like, tonight's meeting is a night where, we decide which direction that we go in. There are a couple choices. We can continue and have our board meetings devolve into chaos and into malicious back and forth exchanges, or we can take the high road. And as a board, as an administration, as a community, we can take the high road and we can learn to work civilly with each other. One of the things that's missing in our American society, and I don't think you need me to point that out because it's evident everywhere we look, is civility. The fact that somehow we've lost the ability to disagree with each other and work together to find solutions without personal attacks, without carrying out vendettas. And we really have to think before we speak. It's just something, it's what we teach our kids, right? I know what I share with my own children. Please think before you say something, and think about how that will affect other people and how it will affect you. So I hope that we as a board can continue to move forward, continue to work together to be able to ensure that the wonderful things that are happening in our district, as other board members have spoken so eloquently about, can continue. I would very much look forward to a discussion about how we can make sure that our board meetings are accessible through live stream and through other means. I think that's important as a board that we are transparent with what's going on and that we can get as many people from our community involved in the dialogue. So thank you again for being here tonight.
Thank you, David. Mrs. McVeigh.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It has been quite a while since we've had this many people in attendance. And I'm glad to see it. I'd like to, as one board member, personally apologize to the students and the staff who witnessed our closure of our last January meeting, and certainly the children who received that email, not only receiving it, but the vulgar content that was in it. I had to apologize and explain to my 3 grandchildren who attend Pinelands Regional, ages 12, 14, and 15, that was not something that normally happens at a Pinelands Board of Education meeting. And I would do everything that I could possibly do to make sure that doesn't happen again. I also use that as an opportunity for a teaching lesson for my grandchildren to understand that there is no provocation that should ever elicit that kind of behavior. And that if you do lose your temper, you need to own it and do everything that you can do to possibly make sure it doesn't happen again. And that is my goal as a board member, to make sure that that never happens again. If there was anything in my behavior or my comments or my remarks to you that caused that behavior, I apologize, and I will make sure that I do everything that I can possibly do to make sure that never happens again. But my apologies certainly to the public, to the staff, and especially the students who received that vulgar email from our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty Ann. Mr. Dalio.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, I'd just like to piggyback off of what Betty Ann said. Thank you for all the people that came out tonight that spoke to us and spoke to the board. I will take most of what was said to heart. Again, sitting here as a board member, I also apologize for how the board acted. It does happen sometimes. Emotions do run high in situations like that. It's never acceptable to start screaming and get in where it went. So I apologize for any part that I may have played in it. I know board members, I know as speaking for myself and most of the people on here that I know that are board members, have the end of the day, you support students. We're here to protect the students. That's who we answer to, is the students. I've been on the board for 5 terms. That's what I go to bed at night, and I think about how is the board and how are the students benefiting by what the board makes decisions, working with the staff. I mean, it's paramount to me. It's very important to be a board member. I consider it to be one of the most important things that I've done civically as far as giving back to my community. It's very important to me being a board member. So I would hate to see us go down that road. I've seen boards act worse than that in my tenure, and I would never want to see that again. And hopefully we're all better for it. And really, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Audrey. Johanna. Hey, what's up?
Hey, I agree with what everyone said. I think tonight was filled with conversations that were necessary to have from public and board. I think just like Mr. Hewitt said, this is an opportunity where as a board and as a community and as a district, we can, in many circumstances, unite in a sense where disagreeing is okay, and having that conversation in order to grow and better our students' education and, you know, everything that comes with being a district, along with the teachers and the staff and the bus drivers and everything of that matter. It's important to have these conversations as uncomfortable as they may seem. But I'm very happy that everyone has voiced opinions. And I'm excited for where we can go with this and, grow as a district. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Johanna. I'll just thank the audience for your attendance and participation and the well-received comments on all items. At this time, I ask for an adjournment, a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? None. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. Have a great night and enjoy the upcoming Happy Valentine's.